Here's why Tulsi Gabbard is the smartest politician in the United States today, at least in the House. Remember, rule number one of persuasion, you have to get people talking about you. Rule number one, all right, there are two parts of persuasion. First, get all the attention. Then there's all the technique of how to be a good persuader. If you don't do step one, get all the attention, it doesn't matter if you're good at step two, because nobody's going to see it. Step one, get all the attention. How'd she do? Those are the two parts of persuasion, step one and step two. How did she do on step one, getting attention? 100%. 100%. It was the best get attention move that was possible because everybody else was doing something predictable. So she did something provocative, controversial, and who are we talking about? All day long, we're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard. So Tulsi Gabbard is the only person who voted present. All but two of the other Democrats voted to impeach. 100% of the Republicans voted not to impeach in the House. And Tulsi Gabbard said that impeachment has to be a bipartisan process. And because this is obviously not bipartisan, it does not meet the constitutional test. So she voted present. She didn't want to vote against it because she thinks the president made some mistakes, but she's not willing to vote for it because it's partisan, and that's not what impeachment is. Now, I said it was the smartest play of the day. Here's why Tulsi Gabbard is the smartest politician in the United States today, at least in the House. Who are we talking about today? Well, President Trump and Pelosi, of course. But Tulsi, which other politician, maybe Debbie Dingell for the wrong reasons, but remember, rule number one of persuasion, you have to get people talking about you. Rule number one, all right, there are two parts of persuasion. First, get all the attention. Then there's all the technique of how to be a good persuader. If you don't do step one, get all the attention, it doesn't matter if you're good at step two, because nobody's going to see it. Step one, get all the attention. How'd she do? All right, those are the two parts of persuasion, step one and step two. How did she do on step one, getting attention? 100%. 100%. It was the best get attention move that was possible because everybody else was doing something predictable. So she did something provocative, controversial, predictable, and who are we talking about? All day long, we're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard. All right. So on that one dimension, would you agree that's a home run? Just if we're just compartmentalizing, right? You don't have to yet have an opinion about the whole strategy. Just on that one thing, will you acknowledge that she got more attention than other people and that that's a necessary quality of persuasion, okay? I think you're with me on that. Now, the second part is that it's the high ground maneuver. The high ground maneuver is when you let all the people argue in the weeds about was it a perfect phone call or was it a slightly imperfect phone call? But was it a crime and a misdemeanor? Was it a high crime? Was it a misdemeanor? What does bribery mean? That's the weeds. Weeds. If you're in the weeds, you're the small person in the conversation. What would be above the weeds? If it's not bipartisan, it's not constitutional. Does it matter if the call was perfect or not perfect? If it's not even constitutional because of the partisanship, doesn't matter. The details of the letter don't matter. The what the president did, Ukraine, none of it matters. It literally doesn't matter because high ground, it doesn't pass the first test. that it's a bipartisan thing. Tulsi Gabbard found the high ground. How many people had the high ground available to them? 100% of them. All right, well, this would only apply to the Democrats, but within the Democrat world, 100% of them had available to them that play. And the play was, I'm going to rise above this. Yes, I think the president did something wrong. If they do, I don't. But if they do, they can say that. That's a fair opinion. And then rise above it. Only one person saw the free money laying on the table. Yeah, there's somebody saying in the comments, free money. There was a big frickin' pile of free money sitting on the table. Free money in the form of attention. And the right kind of attention, because it's high ground attention. It's not just attention for doing something dumb or stupid or provocative. It's the high ground for protecting the Constitution at the most aggressive way. Now, what did all of her detractors say to me today when I said it was a brilliant A-plus play? They said to me, Scott, you frickin' idiot, Scott. They didn't say that, but it was implied. They said her voting present, is the opposite of being brave. It's the opposite of taking a stand. If you don't take a stand on such an important thing, you're being a coward, and you're being wishy-washy, and you're not being a leader. That's what people said to me. To which I say, well, that's about the dumbest opinion I've ever heard in my life. There were not two positions, and you could vote one way or the other. There were always three. She found the third one. It was the right one, because it got her all the attention, and it supported the Constitution at the highest level. The concept level, without the weeds. Not only was it brave, because she's being, castigated by both sides, it was very brave. It was the bravest thing you could do to take the least popular view. If she had taken either a yes or no view, half of the country would have said, we love you. She took the view that guarantees both sides are going to be pissed off at her. For now. Getting both sides pissed off at you isn't always bad in the long run if it also accomplishes getting all the attention. It's what President Trump does. He makes half of the world pissed off while getting all the attention. And then he uses the attention as his tools, and he works with that, and then he becomes president. So, voting president is the opposite of being on the fence. That is a very specific decision with very clear direction about why. It's the high ground. It was the right thing. She took the free money off the table. Nobody else did. A+ for Tulsi Gabbard. And if you're arguing with that, there's something you're just not understanding. Because this one is a clean win for her, in my opinion.